hourly segment is sponsored by Ed Connerkey at Cherry Creek Mortgage. Get the DVD everyone's talking about at bltdvd.com.
One station making history every day.
Chicago, Chicago.
Now, Jake Hartford.
89.
No.
What?
No. 4 no's.
How could you say no?
I just did 4 times.
Too bad you're crazy. Too bad you're loony as hell. So long, it could have been swell together. Too bad you're wacko. Wacko. How sad your marbles are gone. All gone. We could be dancing till dawn, but you're too weird for words. How did you get so strange? You were such a beautiful kid. Now you are so deranged. Was it Mom and Daddy? Something I did? Too bad you're loco. Too bad. You should be locked in a cell. How sad you're great, but hey, what the hell? You're crazy. You're off the deep end. Bon voyage. Your life's a practical joke. Dommage. I'd bail you out, but I'm broke. Your brain's completely fried. Life's just a party trick to you. Clown jokes and lots of booty-doo. It's time to put that on the shelf. Nothing you is free ring circuit. You do look fetching, too bad. It could be catching, egads. I'm a little bit crazy, Mark. Not true. Just a little bit crazy, Mark. Not you. I'm a little bit crazy myself.
6:08, 8 past 6, hour number 2 of Awake with Jake. All right. I know what you're saying. Boy, that last hour, very depressing. All right, I'm going to depress you even more. I was reading a story the other day, just a little blurb about helium. Do you ever think about helium? Nobody does. Except if you're having a birthday party, then you want to get one of those helium balloons. And the story mentioned that the price of helium is going up, and balloons are more expensive. And that was it. And I thought to myself, why is that? Now, most people would just go to the refrigerator, get a beer, watch the Sox. But I said no. I needed to know. I have this curious bent about me. And after I did some research, I was shaken. We're running out of helium.
You gotta be raping me!
No, I'm not. No. We are running out of helium. Now, back in the early 90s, I remember talking about the Federal Helium Reserve down in Texas. How they had all this helium left over from World War I, when they thought dirigibles were going to be the fighting ships of the future. And they have it down in caves down there. And they were spending this enormous amount of money to store the stuff, and nobody wanted helium. There was no use for helium, very little use. And so the government, in its wisdom, decided, well, we're going to get rid of the helium. They had the Helium Act of 96, I believe it was. And they start setting the prices for helium. They get rid of it. Well, helium has become a big item. It's used. You know where helium is used? Other than balloons? They use it for the LCD screens. They use it for MRIs. MRIs are all over the place. They weren't around they may have been around in the early 90s, but not like they are today. They use the helium at the Fermi National Accelerator out in Batavia, and also in the Large Hadron Collider. They use it there. It helps to pressurize and purge the fuel tanks there, and NASA's rockets, in addition to the other, the Fermi Lab and everything. So they use a lot of it. And apparently we're getting rid of it. And other countries who don't have the good helium like we do, Qatar is one of them, Russia's, I think, coming up with some, they're going to control the world market. And we are, like we are with oil, we are going to be dependent on other countries for our helium. Think about that. And the president's doing nothing. He's puttering around. He's waking up at his house this morning, going into his backyard to look at his beefsteak tomatoes, see how they're doing. And when he looks at those beefsteak tomatoes, does he wonder who planted them? Who planted those tomatoes for him? He's not thinking about helium. You know where most of the helium is? It's in the sun, inside the sun, yeah. But we're going to be dependent on countries like Algeria for our helium to get it out of there. And they don't have the good stuff. We've got the good stuff. We've got the pure stuff. And nobody seems to care. Nobody cares. We're going to have these nice MRI machines without, and we're not going to be able to use them. We have the accelerator at the Fermilab. We're not going to be able to use it. There are children who aren't even born yet who will not have the thrill of having a birthday with helium balloons. Think about that. A Nobel-winning scientist says we may run out of helium by 2025. That's a little over 10 years from now. We have a crisis, and no one's talking about it. Todd in Glendale Heights, good morning, sir. Welcome to 89 WLS.
This Jake?
Yes, it is.
Well, this is one of the benefits of Barack Obama and the Democrats' economy, because usually I'm at work right now, but because we're so slow, for the last couple of weeks I've got to listen to you and realize just how funny you are and intelligent. And also your callers are really intelligent. But you're talking about the helium shortage. Well, I worked on all the rigs to work my way through college. We were drilling for oil, but every now and then we'd hit a gas well. You wouldn't believe how much helium is in those gas wells.
Yeah.
The reason that this country has a shortage of helium is directly responsible for the politically correct dogma that has been shoved down our throats for the last 30 years. And now we have Obama and the Democrats are basically telling us that we have to buy foreign oil. Why, I don't know. I mean, I come from North Dakota. That's where I grew up. North Dakota is now a boom town.
3% unemployment, I believe.
Less than 3%.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, Obama's taking credit for that too. But the thing of it is, he can't do anything, and the Democrats can't do anything, because they're drilling on private property, not federal property.
Yeah, most of the drilling that's being done is on private lands, yeah.
Yes, I know, because, like I said, I grew up there. Also, North Dakota is probably the only state left in the Union that has the only state bank. I mean, the banking system, when it was first constructed, each state had its own bank, basically. And North Dakota is probably the only one left to have that. They're right now, the money that they're making off the oil revenue, they're putting together a fund to where the interest that they make off that fund, the state now passed a law, thanks to the Republicans there, the state can't spend more money than it takes in. That's the law now there. And it's going to take majority Democrats to overrule that, but I don't see that happening in the near future on what's going on in this country right now. Anyway, the problem with the helium is because of this politically correct.
People, yeah, the left, the far left, they don't like oil and they don't like gas. And
I know they like all these failed companies that nobody wants to buy.
And I understand, and I understand solar, and I understand wind and all that, but we've got all this oil. We have all this helium. We should not run out of helium.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't even be importing any energy. North Dakota creates so much energy; it exports 75% of the energy it produces to Canada, to Minnesota, to South Dakota, to Montana. I mean, the state there, the people there are really smart. They know how to run their life. They don't ask for anything from anybody else, and that's the way I grew up. You know, I work in a union, so I have to deal with liberals every day, and I told them, well, if you really want to know the difference between a liberal and a conservative Republican, a conservative Republican, his motto is God, country, family. Well, the Democrats' motto always seems to be me, myself, and I. And if you look at what the Democrats say, what they've been preaching for the last 30 years, that's exactly what they're saying. They don't care about anybody but themselves.
They seem to care about everybody, but they...
No, they don't.
Well...
Oh, please. I mean, I had some encouragement when I had this Republican congressman down in Springfield just yelling.
Oh, boss, yeah.
Did you see that?
He was on with Donna Roma the other day.
Well, I like that guy. And I think there's more Americans that need to speak up like he does.
Yeah, but you know what?
Enough is enough.
But he spoke up, but then Madigan said, okay, the Republicans, you're responsible for it, and nothing got done, and so now nothing's getting done.
Yeah, but you can thank Madigan for that once again.
Yeah, it was almost like a trap.
What he said was true. I mean, this state is run by Chicago thugs. Sorry, but that's the truth. If this state didn't have Chicago, this would be a very, very red state. I mean, what he said, I think most of people in this state are starting to feel the same way. I mean, the Democrats, they've been running this state into the ground. And if you look at any other state that's run by the Democrats, look, I used to live in California for 8 years. The reason I moved out of there was because I saw what was coming. And I'm sorry to say, as much as I like this state, I'm really starting to seriously think...
Thinking of going back to North Dakota?
Well, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Take care, Todd.
Thanks, Dick.
Yeah. Anyway, the helium. That's all we're going to talk about, helium. There's other stuff. Look what happened in Florida the other day. Those two homeless people. Where the guy bit off the nose and the eyes, huh? It just goes to prove one man's face is another man's lunch. 6:19 back after this in 89 WOS.